In this next audio, I want to honor one of my mentors, Cynthia Lane, who, in my opinion, is a realized master currently walking the planet. In her journey, she worked closely with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Many are familiar with him and the time the Beatles spent in meditation with him. And she herself was an established TM, Transcendental Meditation teacher for over 28 years, but her transition away from that and her path towards the divine is one I find very inspirational. There are many lessons I've learned from her about dropping into our hearts and ways to work with and experience the light of the divine, or working with quantum reality, which may simply be another way of describing that. This is a meditation she shared with me that had a profound effect on me personally, and that I found shortcuts, what would be a much longer journey for so many. A concept I'm fond of that Cynthia expresses is the difference between healing something that is broken or hurt and working on layers and layers over time versus simply connecting to source light and reprogramming, or even just beginning anew with creation light, what she calls first light. First light points to the quality of the light at the beginning of creation, when during the first 7 seconds, the entirety of the universe came into being. This meditation will explain further. In December of 2011, she was fortunate to attend a Native American ceremony dedicated to the polar bear. And since the bear in many different Native American cultures is associated with healing, this ceremony was dedicated not only to the bear, but to impart its healing ability. She went to the ceremony with zero expectations, just open for whatever. And she closed her eyes at the beginning of the journey. And suddenly, much to her surprise, a polar bear actually showed up in her awareness and began to take her on a journey. The polar bear took her through galaxies and galaxies and galaxies. There were so many stars. It was like a snowstorm of stars. And then suddenly he began to more or less speak to her in her awareness. And the polar bear communicated that what we normally call the healing process can be long, difficult, arduous, like peeling away the layers of an onion, involving perhaps many forms of therapies, herbs, whatever it is that we choose to do. And then he said, you know what? There's a shortcut. He said, all we have to do is go into the first light of creation and merge with that light, that infinitely creative light. And rather than trying to heal an organ or a system or whatever of its sickness, of its difficulties, we can simply create a new one. And so, what we've now come to call polar bear medicine as simply a way to follow the gift or instructions of the polar bear going into the first light of creation with a very, very, very slight intention. Nothing manipulative, nothing detailed, no trying, no effort. Simply, for instance, saying before we start or having the knowing, okay, I need a new lung, or I need a new heart valve, or I need a new foot, or I need a new nervous system. And then slipping into the first light of creation and knowing that that light, that infinitely intelligent and creative light, will create for us the best possible version of what we need without any help whatsoever from our individuality. What gets created is essentially a light blueprint for whatever it is that is going to be healed. And then the earth acts something like a contractor. We could say this light blueprint was created by divine architecture, and then the earth steps in and makes that blueprint an actual physical organ. Once we, in quotes, transplant it into our bodies, this polar bear medicine not only helps us to have a healthy new organ or organ system or nervous system, whatever it is that we're hoping to have, but this new organ system that forms from the light blueprint is also capable of living from the very, very highest qualities or vibrations of light that the universe makes available to us. We are wired for light. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to allow our bodies to drop away. And then we're going to slip into the first light of creation where we can create, or where the universe can create for us, would be a better way to put it, exactly what we need. Again, I urge you not to have too specific an intention, but to leave the majority 99.999% of the in quotes work to the first light of creation, which is constantly creating the whole universe without any effort whatsoever. Constantly dreaming the whole universe, not just our lives and the details of our lives, but the whole universe, and probably millions of universes into the appearance of reality, the appearance of form. So, with thanks to the polar bear, we'll begin this next meditation process. For those of you that don't have any other idea of what you might like, try a new nervous system. Because if we have a new nervous system that's wired for light, it will send signals to the entire rest of the body. It will instruct the rest of the body that it too is made of light. Alrighty, we're going to start. As always, with the bowling ball technique, so that we can do all of this from our big, beautiful hearts, let's close our eyes and we will just hang out with our thoughts as they circle through our minds and watch them get dense and heavy as they roll around our heads like a bowling ball. And when our minds are heavy enough, they will drop just like bowling balls into our hearts. Let your mind drop now. Just let it fall. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out through your heart in the middle of your chest, and we'll hang out there for a minute or so. Through the wonderful open portal of our hearts, our vast being, our vast light makes itself known and available to us. And now we're going to let our bodies dissolve around us so we can just be our vast souls, our vast light. Your skeletal system and your bones dissolving into light. Your organs and organ systems dissolving into light. And finally, that ultimate defining quality, our skin and our muscular system falling away, dissolving into light. Now you are free. You are just light. The light you were before this body, the light you will be after this body, and the light you are right now, though most of us forget. Be that vast, brilliant, and endlessly free light that you are playing throughout the universe. Notice yourself spreading and spreading, galaxies and walls of galaxies moving through you. And now the polar bear says it's time to let go of even that faint, faint sense of individuality and become one with the infinite verse light of creation. Just be light. And now, as if it is a moment of rebirth, whatever it is that we ask for, perhaps a new nervous system, the light blueprint from that now spontaneously takes form and emerges from the first light of creation. And just through intention, a faint thought, that light blueprint now comes into our physical bodies, where we have a kind of transplant process, an integration of that blueprint for the new organ or organ system into our bodies will just let that new blueprint hook. Whenever you feel that blueprint is fully integrated into your body, you can slowly open your eyes. Remember that you are the first light of creation, not just that you have it within you, that you have it in access to it within you, but you are that first light of creation, and that first light of creation, that effortlessly dreaming into form the entire universe. The more you experience that unity with that infinite state of being, the more you can, as it does effortlessly dream into form whatever life needs. This is not an effort-filled process. This is not about, in quotes, manifesting. It is simply being one of the first light of creation, which in fact already knows everything that you need. And simply watching all that we need appear to us, all that we need take form in our lives for a totally effortless and light-filled life. Again, it is not a process of effort, but simply being one with light as it can and does create everything in the universe. And surely we'll do that for our own lives as well. When we're at the beginning stages of this process, the new blueprint for a light-filled system, it contains no emotional charges. Nothing can be the source of pain or disease of any kind. We will still have physical memory, but no physical charges. However, you might find that your mind, your ever creative mind, might try to reestablish some old stories about this new organ or organ system. If you catch yourself doing that, just stop. However, if you can't catch it and you find that some charges, some old forms of emotion or physical pain start to show up, the next meditation will help you address that.